Hey everyone, this is Kevin T. Rodriguez, film critic of iCritic.net, and I'm going to return to Channel Awesome and the hashtag Change the Channel movement. This is probably going to be the last time I comment on it because as the last couple weeks have gone by, it's pretty clear that the situation is at a stable place. Nothing major is going to happen at this point. If something does happen, I will comment on it, but I'm thinking that this is done. And what really clued that into me is that I went to Social Blade and I've been keeping track of them losing subscribers, and I've seen the subscribers dwindle more and more and more. Like, they used to lose like 1,000 subscribers a day, then they would lose 700, then 50, and I knew at some point they'd start gaining subscribers. And now, as you can see, 2 days in a row they gained subscribers. Now, of course, they could start losing subscribers again, I don't know, but when you're losing 50 to 80 subscribers a day, it's not nearly as dramatic as when you're losing several thousand a day. And the fact that we have started to see some uptick means that this controversy is, for better or worse, over. And I think it's time to kind of take a moment and think about the effect on it this all had. And I know that I benefited from the controversy unintentionally. I made a couple videos commenting on the situation that were very crudely made. Just a couple screenshots usually and a voiceover. They were really podcast style, but they were big hits, and I gained over 1,000 subscribers, and that showed just how much people cared about Change the Channel, how much they wanted Doug Walker to become the good guy. I mean, as much as people say they just wanted an apology, I think what they really wanted in hindsight was they just wanted Doug Walker to show that he was a nice guy and that he was hopefully going to do something to change the future. I assume this because every time I look at the Twitter hashtag, which still has a little bit of activity, not much, and it's kind of getting mixed in with the Fox News Change the Channel campaign, but people said, I'm so disappointed in Doug. I am so disappointed in Doug. And you know what? Yeah, I'm disappointed in Doug too. And it's disappointing that this is where it went. But for whatever reason, whether legally or maybe he really is just that bad of a person, Doug Walker was never going to address the controversy. And he never will at this point. Channel Awesome, after 2 very poor responses that lost them a lot of subscribers and then put gas on the fire, I think they decided to do the one thing that they could do, which was basically be silent, wait for it to pass, and eventually things will stabilize. And it looks like they're definitely in the early stages of that happening, because again, we've now had 2 days where they're getting subscribers. Not a lot, it's like 80 and 50, but the thing is, they still have a very entertaining show. Nostalgia Critic, for everything that's been going on, is, in my opinion, still a very entertaining show. People like watching it, and you know what? There were people who unsubscribed to Channel Awesome, and it wasn't hard to find the show. You type Nostalgia Critic, new episode showed up. By the time this video goes up, I believe there will be a new Nostalgia Critic episode that will be uploaded, and it will be for Scooby-Doo. I don't know what Scooby-Doo, to be honest. He's already done the 2 movies, but it'll be up, and I'm sure people will watch it. I mean, for all the subscribers that the Channel Awesome YouTube channel lost, it didn't really result in a lot of lost views for the Nostalgia Critic show, which is their bread and butter. And had that started, maybe something could have happened, but it never did. Still, what happened was not insignificant. They lost about 64,000 subscribers. They lost all their producers pretty much. And it'll be years before anyone even thinks about working with them right now. And who knows if they'll ever want to at this point, because this document is going to always exist. Let's see, what else happened? Their credibility out the window. And, of course, their integrity. And people ask, was it worth it? And I guess we'll have to ask them in 5 years. Because here's the thing, the fact that they're already regaining subscribers, I mean, the Fine brothers pissed off a huge majority of the internet. So much so that years ago when that whole Fine World thing happened, and I made a couple of videos on it, those videos got a lot of views. And I didn't intend for them to get a lot of views. I really don't intend for any of my videos to get a lot of views. I'm working on some actual content that hopefully people will want to watch, but I didn't think my comments on these things would ever, reach the critical mass that they did, would never get liked they did. And that's not because people liked me and what I had to say about it. It's because that's how passionate people felt about the situation. And it's clear that people are still passionate about the situation, but, there's nothing to really talk about. Channel Awesome has since pretty much not addressed any of the accusations. Tamara Chambers pretty much blocks anyone who brings it up on Twitter, and I can't say I blame her, to be perfectly honest. While I wish she would definitely distance herself from Channel Awesome, it's her job, and I can understand that you don't want to be accused of helping cover up a rapist. I understand that, and so she kind of blocked out. Malcolm, I don't really know what he's doing. I mean, if someone asks him about the situation, he pretty much says, can't comment on it right now, and it's left at that. And of course, Doug Walker, the nostalgia critic himself. He has been silent throughout the entire thing. And for his career, maybe that's for the best. Because at the end of the day, I hate to say it, I don't think people are going to remember Doug as the bad guy, even though he contributed to many of the problems. I don't think people are going to remember that he didn't apologize or distance himself with Mike Machad. Heck, a lot of people might not even know who Mike Machad is in a couple of years. I don't know. But considering that the Nostalgia Critic reviews have not suffered in views, and from even when I was tracking everything on Social Blade, it seems like they're making just as much money today as they were a month ago. I don't think there was any long-term financial damage. So I guess the only question we have is, what was it all for? Was this even worth it? I can't answer that for the people who contribute to the document. I know sometimes it really just feels good to get things off your chest. And I understand that the overwhelming amount of support when the document went live probably helped tremendously. And, the creators and the content creators were happy that they were heard and all that jazz. But you know what? As the situation got uglier and uglier, you started to see that some of them start to slowly pull back and say, you know what? I'm kind of done talking about this. Todd in the Shadows never really wanted to discuss it. Mars Girl at one point said she's just exhausted. And Chris Stuckman who didn't contribute to the document, neither did Todd for that matter. They don't want to comment. I think Lindsay Ellis really wants to talk about it anymore. The only two people who seem really truly interested in continuing the conversation is Alison Prager, which is Obscurus Lupa, and Holly Brown, which makes a lot of sense. They were probably slighted the worst. Obscurus Lupa, or Alison, she was treated terribly, and 5 minutes, not being at the computer for 5 minutes cost her position there, and her career could have been ruined because of that. As for Holly Brown, her career was quite literally ruined. She had to sign a waiver that said she would not work in the entertainment industry or something to that effect for 3 years to get a severance package, and they fired her because she needed some time off to heal medically. So they definitely were the most slighted. And they're the ones who are most vocal about keeping this around. The other content creators, though, seem to have, we said our piece. Their response was pretty much what we expected, and we're going to move on. Now, if there is a very positive thing about this coming out, it's that Holly Brown has been working on unionizing content creators for sites like Channel Awesome so that creators and staffers aren't treated this way again, which I think is noble. Do I think it's practical? I don't know, especially since we live in the day and age where pretty much everyone does it themselves. The whole idea of a networking channel isn't really that great anymore. It doesn't seem to help much. And in fact, the whole idea of even partnering with a network on YouTube is starting to fall out of favor. I used to be partnered with a network. They dropped me. Ironically, they dropped me the week before I really started getting some very big views, and not because of Channel Awesome. And then they wanted to re-partner with me, and I'm like, you know what? I'm cool. I think most creators are definitely at that point where they realize Networks don't really do much for you. I mean, they say that they will work on your behalf to make you popular, but they don't. They basically connect, and if you happen to become a hit, then cool, they've got you. But if not, who cares? So, I mean, I would be intrigued to see what a, union for content creators looks like. And if it comes to fruition, maybe that would be this Change the Channel's biggest legacy. The best influence that they had, that they created something that could protect the creators. But aside from that, I really don't know what the legacy of Change the Channel is going to be. I think it's just ultimately going to be something that we found fascinating for a couple of weeks, and then it petered out, and people moved on. There also is a guy that's creating like a Change the Channel comic, and that's mainly the main reason I still follow the hashtag Change the Channel, because I want to see that comic. I want to see it end, and it's a really good comic so far. As for me, I know some people took some flack, or I got some flack, when I said I would probably one day go back to watching the Nostalgia Critic episodes. People said, well, how can you watch that knowing what you know? Well, it's the same reason I can watch The Cosby Show, even though Bill Cosby is now officially a confirmed serial rapist, and I can watch Chinatown, which is still one of the best movies ever made, even though it was made by Roman Polanski. Good art is good art. And some people, they can't cross that line, and you know what? That's fine. I totally understand that. I mean, I used to be a big fan of Michael Moore until he went down a path that I realized I could no longer support him at. So it happens. But, for the time being, I'm still not watching Nostalgia Critic, and I feel like I miss it. I do miss the show, and I really wish I wasn't so mad at Doug, because it really would not have taken much for this to have been like a curiosity for a couple days. And it turned into pretty much a month-long thing, since he didn't want to apologize or address the issues really the way he should have. But, that said, the movement's slowing down. The hashtag isn't being used as often. They're starting to gain subscribers again. They might lose a few more. I'm not saying that they won't, but I think the hopes of seeing the subscriber count go below 1 million, which that would have been fascinating to see, because I think that might have been enough of a major event for them that they might have actually addressed things a little differently had they gotten to that point. But we're not going to get to that point at this moment in time. So, I guess all I can do is pretty much say it was an interesting ride, and I'm sorry so many people were hurt, of course, by it. And that hopefully we can learn who we make our heroes, and that YouTubers, especially with the revelations of Drew Wario, it's like they're not saints, and many of them do very bad things sometimes. So maybe that's going to be the true legacy of Change the Channel, that we learned our YouTube personality heroes are human, and they are capable of doing some very, very bad things, and maybe even being pretty uncaring sometimes. As for hashtag Change the Channel, this truly should be the last I say about it, unless something really unexpected happens, like Doug Walker actually breaks his silence on the matter, which at this point I've given up any hope that he's going to actually do that. And I think everyone else should kind of let that one go too. It's not going to happen at this point. But in the meantime, what did Change the Channel mean to you? What do you think it was all about? And what do you think the lasting legacy is going to be? I would love to know. So comment below. Like, favorite, share, subscribe. If you enjoy videos like this, consider becoming a Patreon member. It's totally optional, but even just $1 a month would help me make better and more frequent videos. And as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one.